Hello everyone, I'm Eric, the Lone Pine Wolfman, with another Red Dead History vid, this time on the towns and types of settlements that have inspired those in Red Dead Redemption 2. And before we start, just reminding you, I am doing a giveaway on Red Dead Redemption 2. Just be an active subscriber and comment on your system below. I'll be doing the drawing in about a week or two. Some towns in the west were big, others were small, and some even just had one street going through it, nicknamed one-horse towns. But no matter the size, they were small bastions of city life in otherwise wilderness. When we think of Wild West towns, we think of bar fights and cowboys shooting up the place. And while these did happen, most actual people living in these places really didn't like it. They were just trying to make a new life for themselves, so they took measures to bring order to these towns. In the beginning, sheriffs usually didn't provide all the law and order. The townspeople themselves would provide the justice. Commonly known as vigilante justice, they would usually hang the criminals if they caught them, and sometimes the mob would get carried away and even hang innocent people by mistake. But as towns grew, and in Red Dead's time, people knew they needed to have someone who had public order as a full-time job. So that's where the sheriffs come to prominence. People could usually select a sheriff from their own community, but more commonly hired a traveling sheriff. Yes, sheriffs traveled. The townspeople and potential sheriff would negotiate the terms and the length of contract. Once elected, the sheriff immediately had the task of bringing some semblance of order to the town. For people living there, they were setting up to stay for a very long time, and usually didn't want to cause trouble without any real cause. The real danger and rowdiness came from the drifters, the cowboys, and anyone else who would just come through for a day or night, maybe grab a drink or a quick poker game, or maybe some time with a prostitute. But the point is, these guys didn't plan to stay long, and thus didn't care if they shot up the town or got into fights with people. So, sheriffs would try to calm down situations that would turn otherwise volatile. Many sheriffs adopted a policy of gun control. If you lived in town and everyone knew you, it was absolutely normal for you to own a gun or two for hunting or self-defense or such. But if you were just someone passing through, most of the time you had to turn your guns to the sheriff or the hotel manager, who would hold onto them for you, just to keep you from getting into any fatal trouble in town. This little ordinance was actually one of the reasons for arguably one of the most famous shootouts of them all, the gunfight at the OK Corral. The Earp brothers, while not being the main sheriffs in town, were more of secondary law, and had formed a reputation for bringing order to other Wild West towns. They quickly developed a dislike for a group of rowdy and criminal cowboys that came into town once in a while, led by the Clantons and the McLauries. Anyway, the Earps put up the provision that everyone passing through town had to turn in their guns until they left. The Clantons refused, and thus, when confronted about it, fighting broke out between the cowboys and the Earps. In about 30 seconds, 3 cowboys were dead, and 2 of the Earp brothers were wounded. Towns usually spring up for 3 reasons. 1, to provide a living and working place that would usually be in an important spot, like a trade route or good farmland or something. 2, there are some local minerals to be mined and miners came to find riches. These are often known as boom towns, as they seemingly appeared overnight. And 3, it was near a rail line. Many towns developed close to the rail lines, since it would provide a place of trade with passengers and provided a steady stream of supplies. Some towns didn't work out though. They were too far from others, or the gold and silver ran out, you name it. We saw Tumbleweed as a ghost town in Red Dead Redemption, but if we get to see New Austin in RDR2, it might be before the town went under. It would be interesting to see. Historical side note, if you visit Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California, many of the buildings in the ghost town area are actually from ghost towns from the Old West. Many of them are over 100 years old, with only enough refurbishment to keep them standing, and so is the train there. It's just part of the history that people walk by as they go to the roller coasters. Towns of Tombstone, Arizona, Deadwood, South Dakota, Dodge City, Kansas, and many more are just some of the famous western towns. But there was one western cowtown that had all the bar and gunfights, the vigilante justice, cattle disputes, and more. And it was there before all the famous western towns. Los Angeles. I know, LA today is not the striking image of a Wild West town, but before and after United States control, in the 1820s through the 70s, Los Angeles had its fair share of gunslingers, crime, and lynchings. Having the highest murder per capita rate in the 1850s of any US town, it was a rough place where racial and criminal tensions could run high. With the information about how interactive the AI will be, it's going to be interesting to see how townspeople will react to the gang, whether they just pass through, cause a fight, or rob a bank. I'm sure if we manage to rouse the town in the heat of a crime, we might find ourselves outnumbered and need to make a hasty retreat out of there. And what will happen if we go back to the town? People might recognize us, or our horse, or who knows what else, and will definitely hold a grudge against us. I wonder if any of our gang will fall victim to the townspeople, or if there will be any towns that will be more accepting of our gang. But let me know what you guys think. Go ahead and write your comments in the section below, and if you liked the video, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe for more content. This is Eric, the Lone Pine Wolfman, and remember gamers, never stop learning. Be sure to check out my next video, where I'll describe a Western robbery in detail, performed by the James Younger gang, and I'll do one for Assassin's Creed as well since it comes out soon. I'll see you guys next time.